motorbikes are being shouted at by the race referee. Get out of the way, they're telling them, and they need to, because this is setting up an attack for Schleck.
Attack through the cars for Andy Schleck, so they better pull away quickly. Brother Frank this time has hooked up to the train. This is it. This is the one, all or nothing, as he paces his brother away. Now Lance Armstrong, Bradley Wiggins has got to react.
Well, on this wheel there is Alberto Contador. Andreas Klode has gone out at the back, but Armstrong was on the wheel of Alberto Contador, and I think he's clawed his way back into this group. There is Christophe Riblon slipping backwards, and Armstrong is right on the wheel of Contador and on the wheel of Frank Schleck. Thank you very much.
Schleck looks over his shoulder, wry smile. They've jumped right into the slipstream of the train, and now the pace will slow again. Bradley Wiggins has never climbed like this in his life. Armstrong has, but he shows now 4 years on he can still climb like this.
Looking over his shoulder, Frank cannot believe that Armstrong has responded. He probably can't believe that so too has Bradley Wiggins, because if he can get rid of Bradley Wiggins, this acceleration was taking advantage, Phil, of the motorbikes that were just in front. They were accusing Alberto Contador the other day of taking advantage of the motorbike. It's the bike riders' possibility to use the motorbikes. It's the motorbike's responsibility to get out of the way of the race.
Well, that group with the yellow jersey is around about 4.1 kilometres from the summit. The leaders themselves are 3.3 kilometres now from the summit, and here they are, and they are very, very tired. Pelazzotti is coming, but he's not got them yet. Garate and Tony Martin, the heroes of a full day in the lead. Yes, there were 16 at one stage. These are the last two, and they're just counting the metres to the summit of the Ventoux. And here he comes, the polka dot king of the mountains. Franco Pelazzotti is trying to run them down in sight of the flag.
And how perfect would that be if the king of the mountains at the Tour de France comes away with a victory on top of one of the most fabled mountains of the Tour de France. Again, Andy Schleck says, right, I'm going to test you boys one more time. Frank sitting on his wheel comfortably there, waiting for the acceleration. Armstrong moving onto the wheel of Frank Schleck. Alberto Contador sitting behind him, and Bradley Wiggins, calm as he wants to be, just sitting there watching all of these accelerations and staying there to hold on to his 4th place overall.
We're looking at 5 very proud athletes here who will not concede literally a single second on this climb. They're racing to the summit. The finishing line awaits them there. Seconds really do count. Oh boy, did we catch Alberto Contador grimace then?
I think there might have been a slight grimace, but I think we can give him permission to do that, especially on the slopes of this climb as he sits there in 4th position. It's a horrendous sight when you look up to the sky there, Phil, because you can see how far it is to go.
Well, Frank Schleck, if he did have a bad start to the climb, it looks as though Bradley's unhitched here. He's just cracked, and he's cracked it around 3 kilometres from the summit. And now he's got to be very careful here, because Andreas Klode, I think, is also behind. So Wiggins is holding on to his 4th place at the moment. But Frank Schleck could be claiming it, because he's only 23 seconds behind Wiggins for the 4th place. And that is why Andy will continue to pace his brother now. If they can get 24 seconds ahead of Bradley Wiggins, they will have Frank Schleck into 4th.
Well, Wiggins has come back. He's come back there, Phil. He knew what was happening to him. He just felt that he had to recover there. He dug really deep. He could feel his 4th place slipping away. Then all of a sudden, he found that little bit extra to ride back onto the wheel of these guys.
And you know, they may not have realised he'd unhitched here. He's gone for the shortest way round the corner. That's a wise move, and looking straight across at him, Andy Schleck, so he's seen he's still there. He just keeps up the tempo. Back into the slipstream, Bradley. Stay there.
Well, he can stay there, Phil, because it's a headwind for these riders at about 27 kilometres an hour, so the best place to be is sitting in that line of riders. I think that's quite fortunate for Bradley Wiggins. A moment of miscommunication maybe with him, and all of a sudden he was off the back, recovered, puts himself back into 4th place overall. Franco Pelazzotti is looking up to the finish, but is still 2.5 kilometres away.
Can Franco catch up, or should we start to dream with the 2 boys up front? A nearly race-long breakaway and victory at the end of the day. Pelazzotti was going good. He looks a bit tired now. Here's the tempo here being stamped out by a brilliant Andy Schleck. He's the younger, by the way, of the brothers. Armstrong, so familiar with that style of his, just out of the saddle, eases up on the back wheel of Frank Schleck. He decided at the start of the day, wherever Frank went, Lance Armstrong would follow.
Well, Armstrong had that fixed in his mind, I would say, this morning, Phil, at the team meeting, that I will go wherever Frank Schleck He's pulling himself inside out here, trying to stay at the top end of this race. He started, as you said, Phil, with ambitions of maybe getting inside of the top 20. Then he started to nurture ambitions of maybe getting inside of the top 10. Now he's hoping to stay in 4th place overall, and that's a phenomenal performance by a man who's got an incredible pedigree coming back from the track.
And he's just easing off the back here. Just close your eyes, Bradley, and accelerate if you can. You are so close to the top of the mountain. The leaders have 2 kilometres to go now. 61 seconds is the gap. Lance Armstrong won the 2003 Tour by 61 seconds. We're now looking here at Armstrong sitting on the back wheel of Frank Schleck. He only has to hold him to finish 3rd tomorrow in the Tour de France. Nibali is still there. He sits 7th. Wiggins is losing ground. He's going to have to come back here, otherwise Frank Schleck might be dragged to it by his brother to get 4th place in the Tour.
Well, Wiggins has pulled
He's back
himself
again.
back. He's on and off this group, Phil. He is riding with sheer courage this afternoon. He realises how important it is to stay in contact with this group. Frank Schleck looks over his shoulder again and says, well, I don't know. I can't understand why we can't get rid of that Brit. Well, he's tenacious, isn't he?
Well, Bradley Wiggins suffered for just 4 minutes and 15 seconds to win Olympic gold medals, but now he's had to struggle for an hour through all kinds of pain. But he's learned to do that in this year's Tour de France, and he's risen through the ashes and he's hanging on. And this man knows he's hurting everybody, but all he wants to do is get his brother out of this group and up the road.
That's what they started, their ambition of the day was, but they're not going to really have very much chance to gap anyone, I think, here, Phil, with this very strong 25-mile-an-hour headwind. All of the guys behind, they're getting the advantage. It's quite rare to get the advantage of slipstream.